Hey y'all. Salam alaikum. I was doing so much today. I was doing too much. I completely forgot. Asim didn't go to school today because he didn't feel well. And I just started cleaning up. And here we are. I had to get myself camera ready because I want to pull some cards. Hold on with the... Hey y'all. Hey Mickey Brooks. Hey Reparations Nation. I don't have any mods yet because it's just us up in here. Like we haven't gotten anybody in here trying to talk crazy and act weird yet. So hey Raven, hey Austin Gray, hey Melrose Radio, hey Angelica Lena. We in the building. We in the building. I didn't plan a show. We're gonna have a free show today. Um I don't even hey Red Sis, I don't even have any questions that I want to ask the cards. I don't even have any questions I want to ask the cards. Let's get into Twitter. Let's get into Twitter because you know what? I did have some stuff that I did want to talk about. But usually the stuff that I want to pull up for the show is usually just like some black praise. So I saw this. This is from Rap House TV. So I don't know how true it is, but I saw this and I was like, oh, this is some great news. It says one of the richest black men in tech, David Stewart's worldwide technology hits 20 billion in revenue. Now I don't know if this is true, but if it is, that is awesome. Because I definitely with this channel, I want to really focus on like stuff that's happening now. Like, of course, we want to bring up Black history and we want to talk about that, but we're still making history today. We're still doing things. We're still progressive people. So I want to make sure that that is highlighted. I thought this was a great story. It's kind of long, but it just pretty much says that this family amassed like 400 acres of land after slavery, and they still own it today. So that is also awesome. Um, I guess it's the Baker family. Uh, yeah, it's the Baker land. So good on them. Moving on. Um, I thought this was very interesting. Just more that is just more evidence that Pan Africanism was um, uh, a CIA engineered psyop. So it's really funny when the Pan Africanists try to tell us that we are a psyop when really there's so much government documentation that proves that y'all are the psyop. Yes, Reparations Nation. We have a free show, any topic. I didn't really plan a show today. The show that I planned for yesterday, I forgot to get it ready for today. So we're gonna have to move that into Monday. I'm so proud of us for tapping into our lineage and history. And we're hitting people over the head with the lineage. That's what I love about it. Like we are really hitting people over the head with the lineage. Because we're literally the only people on earth that have as much documented history as we do. Like we you know what? Let me show. I've been wanting to do this, but I guess we could do this because it's a free show. We could do this today. Um my my 4 times great grandfather has a let me see if I can find it. His one of his great nieces, where is my phone? One of his great nieces, who happens to be white, runs a blog about his life. And I think I talked about this on Twitter before. But what I started, so my family, they've already done our genealogy. Like I can call an aunt on my mom's side, a great aunt on my mom's side, and I can call a couple of my cousins on my dad's side if I need any information about my family. That's why like I've always known my genealogy ever since I was a kid. My 4 times great grandfather, King Stockton, his wife, she was not my grandmother, my great great grandma, my great 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 grandmother, but his wife, she wrote his biography on his behalf. So like even as a child, like I had a copy of this biography. It was probably one of the first books that I've read. It was only 7 pages long, but in the book, he talks about witnessing the Seminole Wars. He did not participate in it, he was enslaved, but he saw whole plantations of families getting slaughtered. And that's what he talked about in the book. That's why this book is at the Library of Congress. It's actually at the library, Emory University Library. Like if I wanted to go see where it was, is at Emory University's library. So I've always known, even on my mom's side, I've always known our history. So nobody could have ever told me anything. I already know. Like, yes, my family was enslaved. We both lines have been here for hundreds of years. It's documented. So I love that we are all coming together now because the ancestors, they are speaking loudly to us right now. They aren't playing. They are bringing down judgment. And it's very important that we listen to them because they're here telling us what they want us to do. So we have to tap into our own ancestry so we can listen to them when they're speaking to us. We got to pay attention. So I'm gonna pull up the blog. I had it on my phone, but let's see if I can find it this way. Yes, this is what it's called. It's when I first found this, I was so shocked. Like I did not know what to believe. I couldn't believe it. I'm serious, like the fact that this lady who none of us know runs a whole blog about him. I'm trying to I found it on my phone. I'm trying to send it to my MacBook. Maybe it won't let me because I'm on StreamYard. Oh well. Here we go. So this is the blog. She has so many entries. And I mean, she's talking about like a lot of different stuff, but a lot of it is talking about my 4 times great grandfather. So I'll read it to y'all. She says, The Search for King. This is when she started doing her own research. She says, I assure you, it is infinitely easier to research the history of a man once you know his name than it is before you've learned his identity. Now that I have found a possible identity for the man of my family story, we'll tap into that in a second, the one who supposedly wrote his life story and gave a copy of the book to my grandmother's family, I can begin testing that name as my first hypothesis. So whether King Stockton becomes the man who, though enslaved on my 3rd great-grandfather's property, became somehow amicably connected to our family after the Civil War as well, I can't yet say. That will become the quest of our research adventure. And in order to learn whether that is a correct conjecture, in the process, we'll learn who King Stockton is, no matter whether he is the answer to my research quandary. Hopefully, at the end, we'll discover where his mysterious book may be found, if at all, so many years after his lifetime. So while I and my undaunted companion remember, he's the one who carries the bags, drive up north to Suwannee County today, let's explore what can be found about the man called King on the McClellan Plantation near Wellborn, Florida. When I first began perusing all the names of African American families in the neighborhood of my 2nd great-grandfather in the 1870 census, I did remember seeing the name King. In fact, more than once. Going back now to double check my memory, there was indeed one man named King who had the surname Stockton. He was a man born in 1830. If his age given in the 1870 census was correct, he was born in 1824. Along with King Stockton was his 38-year-old wife, Lavinia, and likely children, Manda, King, Catherine, Ella, Robert, and Sweeter. So these were kids that he had with Lavinia. I haven't been able to find who my 4-time great grandmother is, but he had other sons, Albert and Francis, who lived in the same, I guess, compound with him. Albert was my great 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 grandfather. So that's one thing that she wasn't able to find out. But I actually emailed her like some years ago to ask to talk to her about this, and she was like, "Oh, we can compare notes, blah blah blah." And I just, I don't know, like she turned me off completely, and I just never got back in contact with her. Melrose Radio says reclaiming our identity and land is the best thing we've done in the 21st century. And the crazy, I keep saying this, but the crazy thing is we haven't even done anything. All we said was we're American and we can prove it. That's what like really kills me about all of this. Like we have not done anything but say we're American and we can prove it. And like all hell has broken loose. Seriously, all hell has broken loose. And Reparations Nation says she probably owe y'all a cool quarter bill. I agree. And I think that's probably why I never got back in contact with her, because it was like the tone of the email was like, oh, we can just, talk about, how my family enslaved your family, just be fun. Like it was really weird. Like the tone, like, ma'am, your family enslaved mine. We're not, I have animosity towards you. I know it wasn't you personally, but like, come on, man. Anyways, she also says on the same page in that 1870 census could also be found the households of 2 other Stockton households, that of Albert and Francis. They likely were relatives. Yes, they were his sons. They were his sons. But they were much older. They were much older. So I don't know who he had these children with. Yeah, I have no idea who he had those children with. But what I assume is that maybe their mother died and then he just remarried and had more children. The search was on for more information on this King Stockton. I'm still very far from verifying that King Stockton was the man of my family's legend. No matter, I still wanted to explore everything I could find out about that man. There wasn't much to find. A newspaper article in the local newspaper, the Suwannee. This is the by the way, this is the first journal entry, as she's, she did several. she wrote so much about him, like she wrote so much about him, like she could have wrote her own book on him. But this was like her first query into all of it. So anyways, there wasn't much to find. A newspaper article in the local newspaper, the Suwannee Democrat, in the terminology of that era, mentioned on September 17th, 1909, that Uncle King Stockton, age 80 and old-time darky, was in town Saturday. Uncle King works every day and makes a crop every year, which is remarkable for one of his age. While it sounded promising for my quest, the mystery man in my family story would come into town to visit periodically, a visit every now and then, wouldn't be that extraordinary for anyone who had moved away from his hometown. Thanks to Google Books, though, I did locate another indicator that I might be on the right track. King Stockton was mentioned by name in the proceedings of the 1878 Florida Conference of the African Methodist Episcopal Church as a traveling deacon. While I was able to find a few mentions of that name, thankfully mentioned in connection with Wellborn and in relation to church activities, 2 clues consistent with the story I remembered from my childhood, that still wasn't enough to confirm this was the man which would lead me to the life story I was seeking. Thankfully, I had a few more search options. So this is her right here, Jackie Stevens. This is one of my cracker cousins. who is coincidentally keeping the history of my family alive. So Raven says that's why I can't connect with my dad's white cousins because y'all are evil and I don't like y'all. LOL. Yeah, so I'm sure y'all could imagine how crazy that was. But yeah, this was the first time I had reached out to her. Hi, Jackie. King Stockton is my ancestor. I would like to speak with you if it is at all possible. Yes, let's connect. Please send me an email, blah, blah, blah. And we talked via email. It was odd. It was odd. So yeah. Um, after I found this, because I started doing my own research, right? I started doing my own research. I called one of my cousins who still lives. So my family still has land that they've had for maybe 150 years in Lake City. So that's where they all live. They still live on the land, mostly in trailers, or they live like in like the surrounding area. So I called one of my cousins that still lives out there, and she confirmed that this lady indeed was one of our cousins, and her her research is correct. So I want to see what she said about King. Because one thing that's very interesting about one of the myths about us in this country is that we have slave names. That's one thing that I don't believe because King named himself. King absolutely named himself. He didn't have the same last name of his enslaved family, and he didn't even have the same last name of his mother. His father was his owner. So, yeah, he named himself, and we weren't able to figure out like where the name came from. Like, why did you name yourself Stockton? Or how did you get that name? Yeah, that old hag, oh, you big money, go get that paper. Yeah, that is definitely something that I would have to talk to her. So, wait, right here. Um, so right here, she says, according to the story, when great whatever grandfather McClellan was a youngster, it was before the Civil War. Like almost everyone among his neighbors forget that not only in his state but in the entire region, his family had no qualms about the buying or selling of people and apparently owned some slaves themselves. You see how she kind of just like brushes over it? Yeah, she's trying to make it seem like it was just so normal of the time. Everybody owned slaves. So did my family. Many of us did name ourselves. I know I have a plantation surname, unfortunately. Yeah, I my name ended up being Major. So my maiden name is Major. Actually, I took my name back in the divorce, so my name is Major. So my great grandmother, who her name was Catherine Stockton, because her father was Major Stockton, who was a son of Albert Stockton, who was the son of King Stockton. So Major was my great grandmother's father. My great grandmother, she named a man whose last name was Major, coincidentally. So she became Catherine Major. She gave birth to Michelle Major, who is my granny, who is my dad's mother. So that's how we became Majors. Um, Reparations Nation, she is trying to normalize it. They all attempt to normalize it. They were men, and yeah. And that's like the main reason why I just did not want to talk to her. Because of her family, my family was in the Five of Pentacles. So yeah. But I do find it very interesting that she keeps this blog, and a lot of it is dedicated to my 4 times great grandfather. So okay, so this is where she's talking about King and his mother. She says one of those enslaved people was a woman, possibly the one who was the mother of a young boy, the same age as my McClellan ancestor. This woman was tasked, among other household duties, with watching over this ancestor, and because she had a child roughly the same age, she was permitted to watch after the 2 children together. Over the years, according to my mother's story, these 2 boys developed as much of a circumspect friendship as was possible in the culture of the time. Then came the Civil War. Afterwards, those who once were slaves were now free to go wherever. Eventually, this former slave child left his home. Whenever he was passing by the area, though, he would find a way to stop by for a visit with my family. So, one thing about it that I know is that on this side of my family, no worries, Raven. On this side of my family, although they were enslaved, they were not brutalized. They weren't treated badly. They were, of course, treated as badly as slaves are pretty much treated, but they weren't whipped and beaten, and they weren't treated in that way. And I think it's because King was the son of his owner, and from what I believe, from all of my own research, I believe that his owner had like a liking to King's mother, Hester, if that makes sense. He took a liking to her, of course. I don't think that there was obviously there wasn't like a relationship, but she was the assistant to his wife, to the point where she said that when she dies, she wants Hester to be buried with her. So the story gets deep. It gets very, very deep. So, where did I leave off? Okay. So during one visit, this now grown man told my ancestor that he had written the story of his life and left a copy of the book with his childhood buddy. At least, according to my mother, that was so. So they make it seem very, very amicable. I don't know if it was as amicable. But yeah, my eyes bugged open. I realized that book was my way to reach out and touch the past of my family. It would be like reading a diary of an eyewitness to momentous changes, not only in my family's history, but our country as well. Can I see the book? Does anyone still have it? My mother assured me a copy was still held by my grandmother, lest you think that would make a wonderful, happy ending to a child's brief story. Think first about reading between the lines. Remember, I heard this story in New York, far removed from my Southern roots. Further, my mother, very much a Northerner, was raised by parents who, though born in the South, had made the choice as adults to leave that region for better economic opportunities up north and out west. Bottom line, disabuse yourself of a warm and doting grandmother whose frequent visits came with spoiling hugs and treats. After hearing that story, it was probably years before I visited my grandmother, but I never forgot about the book. When I finally got to see my grandparents, the first question out of my mouth was likely, "Can I see the book?" When I finally asked, I had to explain what I meant. After relaying my mother's story, my grandmother screwed up her mouth in her characteristic style, gave a little nervous laugh, and put me off with something nebulous about the book being in storage. She'd get to it someday, but not right now. My visit with my grandparents was over too soon. I left without ever seeing that book. Though my grandparents came once after that to visit us in New York, I never got the chance to prod her again with my request. After her death, I attempted that quest once more, this time with my aunt, who was responsible for settling my grandparents' affairs. She too, however, was off-putting with a vague, "Oh, I'm sure it's in her trunk," but there was never any offer to go and see what we could find. Several years later, by now, the parent of a college student, I had one more opportunity to look for that book. It was when my aunt herself passed away. This time, my sister and I were responsible for taking care of what had been left behind. When it came to sort through her effects, I was the first to get to my aunt's home. I knew exactly what the trunk would signify. By now, in the basement of my aunt's home, it had always been the old fashioned steamer trunk where my grandmother and then my aunt, and after her, had kept her personal papers. There were old documents, photograph albums, letters, newspaper clippings, and other gems of such value to family historians. There was, however, one item missing: the book. That book, was there even such an item? Could my mother have gotten the story wrong? Would my grandmother, still very much a creation of her childhood's Southern culture, have discarded the thing, based simply on a prejudice? Hmm. I sifted through every paper saved in that trunk. It was incredible what merited include tossed in among out. If there was even such a thing, it would have been invaluable. It would have been an invaluable eyewitness account of life among people in my family I have never had the chance to meet. But then the doubt settles in. How could there be such a book? After all, wasn't it true that slaves were not permitted to learn how to read? How then could such a man have written his story? One thing that I do know about it, he learned how to read after he was freed, and he didn't even write the book. His wife wrote it for him. So that's the only thing I do know. This man, I keep thinking almost as if in an argument with myself, must have been somewhat special. He had a privileged spot in the household arrangements even as a child. Could someone have taught him to write? Or could he have gone away to school after emancipation? Knowing the destitute conditions of some freedmen in the 1870s, I don't think my family was ever in um, a destitute condition after slavery. And I'm not sure how we got that land that we still own in Lake City. And the papers are so messed up. Like I don't know what's going to happen to the land. The paperwork for the land is so messed up. I don't know what's going to happen to the land. But yeah, I don't know. It's in Florida, so of course we could have been very well one of the families that did get the 40 acres. I I don't know the lore about the land itself. All I do know is that several of my family members have tried to purchase the land because they wanted to straighten out the paperwork so we couldn't lose it. But you know how it is in families. Listening to this is pissing me off, and it ain't even my family. Yep. Yeah, I spent days on this blog. I spent days on it, and I was definitely very, very upset because, of course, she's writing it from her lens of, this happened so long ago. I don't want to indict my family for doing something wrong. I don't want to make it seem like I have race. My grandmother was a racist. You know what I mean? Like she's trying to like and researchers, archivists, librarians, and genealogists for their advice on how to track this man with no name. I've gotten a lot of good advice, some of which I'll share with you this week. But I realize a search like this will entail a lot of monotony, as well as, well, we don't need to read the rest of this. At the end of the day, um, of course, she found the book. Blah blah blah. There's a lot more to this story. There's a lot more to this story, but back to Twitter. Um, Connie tweeted this week, and I thought it was so appropriate. When an ethnic group demands credit for their cultural creations, accomplishments, you get respect. Delineation and ethnic pride is our birthright and shall continue. Hashtag reparations. Now, when she said that, it made so much sense. And Melrose Radio, that touches on what you said about us, you know, about us earlier. When you said reclaiming our identity and land is the best thing we've done in the 21st century, because um, I think that people thought because we weren't claiming who we were, and it was like we were trying to be somebody else. You know what I mean? We're trying to be Africans. You know, once we started claiming who we are, people had to like fix their posture when they're speaking with us. You know what I mean? Like they can't treat us a way. They can't treat us in a way that does not reflect who we actually are anymore. And I think it's because um, we have stepped into who we actually are. We're not confused. We're not falling victim. Hold on, let me put the camera on me so I can see myself. We aren't falling for the illusions, the lies, Seven of Cups. Because at the end of the day, like if we know who we are internally, we don't really have to internalize the things that other people say about us. It doesn't matter. It definitely does not matter. We have knocked our enemies out. We have knocked our enemies out. We have actually, that reminds me of something. We knocked them out with the help of the Most High. It was something that I wanted to share with y'all. Let me see if I can find it. I probably won't be able to find it. Not quickly enough so I can give it to you all, because I don't want to hold up the show. But I know y'all saw that video of that man, the African man who was cosplaying, and he was talking about why we shouldn't be allowed in Africa. Yeah, did y'all see that? I know y'all did. And I know I reposted it, but here we go. Arthur had posted it, so let me share my screen so we can watch it together. Because this was nothing but some cheddar babble.
The delineation movement is causing a lot of discomfort in many circles around the world. Not only in America, but on the continent of Africa and in a lot of power centers around the world. You know, the
Let me pause right here. Why would he say that the delineation movement here is causing problems in Africa and other places? He says power centers. I'm assuming that probably means like London, maybe Hong Kong. What other places do these people flee to? Wherever these people flee to, that's where the delineation movement is causing them problems.
delineators are really creating a lot of confusion, and the effects, the negative effects.
What's the confusion? Why he's sitting up here looking like Tyler Perry? What's the confusion? Is it because you can't confuse? Uh-oh. The audio is low. I don't know how to fix that, mainly because hold on. I turned it up on my laptop. So let's see.
Effects on
Hold on. Is that I'll start it over because y'all said that it was.
the delineation movement is causing a lot of discomfort in many circles around the world. Not only in America, but on the continent of Africa and in a lot of power centers around the world. You know, the delineators are really creating a lot of confusion, and the effects, the negative effects on, you know, those who are trying to expand their business or their trades or their, worldview to different parts of the world.
Let me stop you right there. He said, did you hear what he said? It's causing problems for people that are trying to expand in different places outside of Africa because they need us in order to be palatable to people in other places, because they know that these Africans have bad reputations everywhere they go. And yes, Melrose Radio says he's scared. He is scared because he's able to move throughout the world because he presents himself as a Black American. Ikari says because now they can't put their trash on foundationals, and I love to see it. Exactly, because they can say, oh, okay, well, Black people are this way, but I'm Nigerian. I'm different from them. You know what I mean? But you want to move around the world as if you are a Black American. Make it make sense. He doesn't have a t-shirt or a white beater underneath that sweater. Is must see. He needs some root work, huh? Ooh. And then he got on this, you know what? Let's keep it moving.
I've hit a roadblock because the delineators have really caused people around the world to take a pause at the invitations and the expansions of, entry into certain parts of the world by the African American people. Now, we have to make it clear that the African Americans are different from the FBAs. And let me tell you the difference. The FBAs are people who claim that they are from here originally. They have nothing to do with.
You hear that? He said here originally. So where is he sitting? He's probably sitting up in Atlanta right now saying this stuff. So he don't want to he wants to try to separate African American from FBA because he's probably here working with us in some type of capacity. So he don't want to mess up whatever relationship he has with us here, but he wants to other us from FBA at the same time. That doesn't work. You can't other us from us. You sitting up here looking scared and musty. Melrose Radio says, dang, we busted up their global scamming and fleeing hustles. Yes, that's exactly what it is. Reparation Nation said, yep, thinking of my city. We messed up their global scamming and their hustles because they're running around the world pretending like they are Black Americans. Instead of, because before they were selling this narrative. Okay, honey. They were selling this narrative that we were actually Africans pretending to be them, when it's the other way around. So now that we're like, okay, we're not like y'all, everybody around the world is paying attention because we are the ones with the microphone. They don't have a microphone. So when we say, okay, they're not like us, we're our own separate group, now they have to be them. It's like we turned the lights off. It's like we turned the lights on and all the roaches started scattering. That's literally what happened. We turned on the lights and they had to scatter because they were all cosplaying. They were hiding who they really are and cloaking themselves in Black American energy that did not belong to them. Also, Grace says, we don't go to other countries trying to sow division like these tethers. Exactly. And we spoke about this before. All of that North versus South BS, that's all them. That's their way of saying that they hate Black Americans. The majority of us reside in the South. The Black Americans that live in New York today descend from the ones that came from the South mostly. They're like the Jays. The Jays do the same thing. They got ran up out of every place that they tried to go to. They got ran out of Africa. They got ran out of every place that they tried to go to. They're just like them. Let's finish listening to what he got to say.
Africa, they are from here originally. They have nothing to do with Africa. They are not people who have any connection to Africa. And so they want nothing to do with Africa. They go, a step further by insulting Africans and demeaning Africans and, describing Africans in National Geographic terms. Just, very, very negative ways.
So now we the boogeyman. Now we the boogeyman because we say we're not like y'all. That's all we said. We're not like y'all. Y'all aren't like us. Of course, there are some of us that are like very mean and hateful towards them, but there's nothing mean and more hateful than calling us a name and then hiding behind what it really means. They have all of these slurs for us. We don't have any slurs for them. We call them a tether. They think they act like we call them the N-word. They try to say they don't care about the N-word because it doesn't refer to them. But as soon as we say tether, they act like they just got shot or something. Austell Gray says, for someone who speaks so much about Africa, he sure as hell don't want to live there. Absolutely not. That's why you can't take these people seriously. Because we know how y'all live over there. We know y'all don't want to live over there. So all of this posturing about Africa, it's just cap. And we know it's cap. So that's what it's like, why are we taking y'all seriously? Angelica Lena says, we're the boogeyman for defending ourselves. They came for us first. And they won't stop coming for us. We looked at them as like they were our brothers and our sisters. And then we realized that, oh, okay, we played ourselves. And we started to cut them off. But they were acting like we needed them. But as soon as we cut them off, that's when they realized, oh, we really do need them instead of us. It's not the other way around. So they're still trying to gaslight us into trying to have some type of allyship with them. And it's not going to work because y'all already showed who you are. And then another thing that I've noticed with them is that since we started delineating, they've been doing the whole, like the thing that Roland Martin does, where he calls us a stupid fool because we don't agree with him. Like, you're not going to insult us into allowing y'all back into the gates again. It's not going to work. Angelica Lena says they call us the N-word with a hard ER. Exactly. They call us that. They call us Akatas. They call us Jareers. They have all types of names for us. Reparations Nation, in the words of Tariq, no one hates Africa more than a fleeing tether. And that is correct. If you loved it, you wouldn't leave. Point blank, period. If you loved it so much, you wouldn't leave.
I'm an African. You won't see me.
I was about to scream, no, S, but it is Ramadan. He's talking about I'm an African. We know that. We know that, sir. Everyone knows that. You think that you cosplaying enough that people don't know who you are? You think you've cloaked yourself in Black American aura to the point that don't nobody know that you African? We know you African.
On National Geographic. But the way they describe the Africans, it's very.
He got a fork in his hand. He's sitting in his car eating with a fork in his hand. Couldn't even wait till he finished eating to get on. I don't know what is this. He got on TikTok talking about we are a security risk for African countries. That's not what you want to do. You really do not want to do this. I promise you, you don't want to do this. Y'all, instead of just waving the white flag, these people are doubling down on their ignorance. Reparation Nation said his underarms smell like Nat Geo. Reparation Nation said, hence why even after leaving the A for work several times, I always come back to the DEC. I love my city. Now, I love Atlanta, but I ain't gonna hold you. I'm trying to get up out of here too. I'm trying to get but I will say that I've lived in 4 different states since graduating high school, and I've come back. I've always come back to Atlanta. I think this is like my 3rd time moving back to Atlanta. So I'm sure after I leave and go to my next place, I'll be moving back to Atlanta at some point. I feel like Atlanta is a magnet. It always draws you back to it. Angelica Lena says, right, now tell us something we don't know, Captain Obvious. Talking about I'm an African. Like, these people are so delusional.
Negative. They just are worse than the colonizer, and how the colonizer described Africa.
How are we worse than the colonizer? We are not stealing resources from your country. Literally, like, how are we worse? How are we worse than the colonizer? I can't believe he said that. Are we worse than Leopold, who was over there in forcing y'all in the Congo to dig up diamonds with your bare hands? And if you weren't digging them up enough, he was cutting off your arms and your legs and your hands and your feet. We didn't do anything like that to you all. Angelica Lena said it's probably a customer's. Angelica Lena. Oh, she said he eat a customer's Uber Eats order. Oh. Girl. But no, he probably is with that fork in his hand. Reparations Nation says, as effed up as it is now, the A is the sugar honey iced tea. Man, I don't know. I'm gonna let you have that. I feel like it's different for me because you live in Decatur, and once I graduated from Southwest DeKalb, I did not ever want to go back to Decatur. I hated Decatur. That's why I moved to the West Side. Because I was like, I love Atlanta, but let me leave the East Side. Let me come to the West Side. Let me see if it's different. And the East Side is very different from the West Side. But the only difference with the East Side is like, I would say the East Side is a little bit more sophisticated than the West Side. Austell Gray says he just moved to live around the colonizer. Hello? Red Six says Africans want to destiny swap with us bad. They do. That's why when we were saying that we were African, they loved it because they could look at us in our face and say, you're not African, because they think that they have something that we want, but it's the other way around. We have something that they want, and they're mad now with delineation because they think that we're keeping it away from them. And you're damn right. We are keeping it away from you because it's not yours, it's ours. You can't cosplay us enough to be in our ethnic group. But that's what they're thinking. They think that they can put on the costume and they can just take over. But I've even experienced this in my personal life. Somebody can try to pretend to be you and they can act like you and do all the things that you do, but they still aren't you. Everything that you do, they can try to give the same aura. They can try to give that thing that you do, but they can't, excuse me, they can't do it like you. And they can't do it like us because hold on one second. Oh my God, these children. I was in their closet looking for some balloons because they wanted to play Keepy Uppy. And I found some like old school supplies from like 2 years ago that I had stuffed in the back of the closet. And now they're arguing over who it belongs to. It's nothing but like some construction paper and some pencils. Like it's nothing crazy. But now they're arguing over who it belongs to. Anyways, back to the destiny swapping. Yeah, they want to be able to um act like us. They want to dress like us. They want to go to our schools. They want to join our fraternities and our sororities. They want to take our jobs. They want to move in our neighborhoods. And they can do all of those things, but they still aren't us. They don't have the birthright. They don't have the inheritance. They don't have the ancestry in this country that we do. Hold on one. He in there acting jealous because she coloring with some fat crayons. If y'all don't if y'all don't shut up, you you coloring with some fat crayons, and he mad because he ain't got none. I'm I am done with these kids. Um, but yeah, about the destiny swapping. Let me get some. Oh, sorry, y'all. Um, but yeah, they don't have our ancestry, and which means is they don't have the spiritual connection that we have to this land. So they need to find something else to do. The smartest thing for them to do is just to go back home because it's going to get really difficult for them here. That's what I think. I think that it's going to get so hard for immigrants in this country and not the ones that they want to be here. It's going to get difficult for the ones that they don't want to be here. Arab colonizers call North Africa White Africa. Yeah. Apartheid. His a goosey figures all up. That's why, like, that's why I had to say something about the fork, because I didn't know you ate fufu with a fork. You ate fufu with a fork? Angelica Lena says Atlanta used to be that spot back in the 90s and in the early 2000s too. By like 2009, it started getting really weird. 2009, that's when I realized, oh, it's weird here. And by 2010, I was in Miami. But one good, and I think I saw Lil Duval, he posted something about this, that Atlanta is still one of the only cities in America where it's like you actually see Black people who are, we're not the majority anymore, but that are actually wealthy and doing well. But the problem is it's the wealth disparity in Atlanta. Because like I live in Pittsburgh. I live in Atlanta, but I live on the like south downtown. And it's messed up. It is messed up in a lot of places in Atlanta. It's just, and it's messed up for Black folks. Angelica Lana says, I don't think they realize that we can see and hear them. No, because they really do think they're delusional. They got the same, they're just like the white people. They act like white people. And the problem with white people right now is that because things are getting bad for them, they want things to go back to how they were. They are never going back to how they were. And they're going to end up being left behind. They're going to get left behind. They don't even know that they're about to get left behind because they are refusing to move forward. They are refusing to move forward. Reparation Nation says, we are the same but different groups of FBA. My cousins that grew up in CP and EP are very different from me. I went to Columbia and Tucker. McNair was my homeschool, and they went to Thero. Yeah. And even like when I was in high school, I had friends that went to Sandy Creek. I had friends that went to Westlake. I had friends that went to just all over the place. Shiloh, you know what I mean? And it in every pocket of Metro Atlanta, it's very different. It's the north side is very, very different from the east side too. The south side is very, very different. So that's just how Atlanta is. But that's one thing that I love about us, because we're very localized. Like you can go to other places and it's not like that. But if you're from one part of the city, you stay in that part of the city. Your family have been in that part of the city for generations. You know what I mean? My family's not from Atlanta though, so it's a little different. My mom is from Alabama. My dad was from Florida. So I didn't grow up around any of my family. So I was very much informed by my surroundings, you know. But even then, like I'm not an Atlanta person. Like I'm an Atlanta person because I grew up here. But when you know people that have been generations deep in Atlanta, they act very, very different. I remember maybe last week, I was this girl said something about Atlanta and how we don't have like one dance that's like very, very significant to the Atlanta experience, kind of like how Chicago, how they have footwork and they've been footworking for decades, and how in Memphis they have juking, and in Florida got a lot of different dances, but they're still like the same like vibe. But the reason why is because Atlanta is like our art scene in Atlanta is like constantly evolving. Like, but there are dances that I feel like are very, very particular to Atlanta, like yeeking, ticking, the Bankhead Bounce. Like these are all dances that they have. I've seen generations of Atlanta people in the same family doing these dances together. And I'm sure Reparations Nation can definitely attest to that because we're constantly evolving, but you could draw a straight line from the Bankhead Bounce to the Lean With It, Rock With It. You know what I mean? Like, and even the whip and the nay nay, like it's a lot of our dances that like they come from the other ones. You know what I mean? Like Atlanta is like a continuum. It's just and that's why people think it's like the Mecca for Black Americans, because it kind of encapsulates like who we are as Black Americans. Like we're constantly evolving. We're everything we do is like we're drawing from the past, and we're drawing from the things that we've already created, and we're just making new things from what we've already created. Reparations Nation says, oh, they want to be us so bad, yet simultaneously stay African. That's not how any of this works. Exactly. And that's why they're struggling in the UK, because they think that they can hold on to their cultures and they can create a different culture that is like completely unique to the UK. And that's not going to work. You can't, what are you going to do? Merge your African and Caribbean cultures into one? That's not going to happen. It's never going to happen. Y'all are always going to hold on to what you already know. They're silly. Those people are so silly. Dr. Grant says, I have always said you can copy and duplicate, but you can never authenticate. Everything anyone does to copy us is a poor man's copy and mediocre at best. It's the Taco Bell of our culture. Yeah, it is. It is because, but you also like, I would have, okay, so I've always been familiar with K-pop because like years ago I had a couple friends who used to like to go to the Korean barbecue places, and we used to go there and they would play K-pop. So I've always been like familiar with it. But only recently have I actually sat and listened to it because my kids like K-pop Demon Hunters, that movie. So they like the songs, they like the characters and stuff like that. It messed me up so bad when I started actually listening to this K-pop music. Do you realize that they are singing in Ebonics? They're literally doing 90s R&B, calling it K-pop, singing in Ebonics. That messed me up. They saying like they're saying ain't, I'm a what? That is, it's so it everybody is copying us all over the world. It's not just these Africans that try to come up here and be around us. Like everybody around the world is copying us. That K-pop stuff is scary. It's scary. Melrose Radio says kids are hilarious. My kids are crazy. Like they are insane. And it's probably my fault because I give them a lot of freedom because I want them to be themselves. I like watching their personalities develop, and I like even like my daughter, like she's very, very bossy, but I like watching her be bossy because I like seeing her assert herself. Because I've noticed that at home, she's a lot more comfortable. So she's a lot bossier. But when she gets around other people, especially people she doesn't know, she kind of starts to shrink herself. So I keep telling her, I want you to act more like how you do at home, outside. But it becomes too much. Like, especially like Asim getting mad because she has these crayons. Like I beg him all the time, like, can you please draw? I just want you to write. He never wants to, even when he goes to school, he hates writing. He's left-handed, so he hates writing. But you see your sister with some brand new fat crayons and you want to act a fool about it? Like, that don't make no sense at all. Reparations Nation says, my sister lives in MIA right now. She don't want to come home either. Yeah, listen. I moved to Miami because I got a job as a personal assistant for someone who was a brand marketer for nightclubs. And I didn't want to go home either. I didn't want to go home either. I was living on South Beach. I was like 22. I was either 22 or 23. And I had dropped out of Kentucky, the University of Kentucky. And I didn't think I was dropping out. I thought I was just taking some time because like I had went through some like traumatic stuff, and I was like, I need to take a break. I need to recalibrate. And I wanted to change my major, but I think I was out for like 1 year, and then I had got that position, and I was like, let me go to Miami. Let me see how that's like. And yeah, Miami is one of those places where it feels like you're on vacation the whole time, and then you'll wake up one day and realize you weren't on vacation, and then you're like, "Oh, okay, I gotta go. I can't stay here if I'm gonna actually have a real life." And everybody that I knew, excuse me, who I knew in Miami, they all ended up moving. That was black in Miami. They all left and ended up moving to Atlanta. So um Shiloh is white, but when I was in high school, it was like 50% black. When I was in high school, Shiloh was like 50% black. Cause I lived, my parents had a house on Stevenson Road for like, I don't know how long, maybe like 5 years when I was a kid. And then when they divorced, we ended up moving off Panola Road, like, um, you know where Thompson Mill is? That's where we moved to. So like kind of like between Lithonia and Decatur. Um, but yeah, so if you know anything about Stevenson, like Stevenson is like right by Shiloh. And yeah, I used to go to Shiloh parties and stuff. It was literally half black back then. I don't know what it's like now. We have the Bankhead Bounce. We have a few things like yeeking. Like, come on now, yeeking. They still yeek to this day, and that was like people started yeeking in like the 80s. Um, yeah, Angelica Lane. We Atlanta got dances for days. K-pop is crazy. K-pop is only close to authentic because Compton runs K-pop. Dewan B has a video about this. Yeah, yeah. There's a lot of people. There's a lot of people that work with K-pop. Like uh, what's that group? I can't remember the name of them. Never mind. I won't even bring them up because I can't remember their name. But there's a group from the 80s that they work with a lot of K-pop artists. Jimmy Jam and Terry Lewis, they work with K-pop artists as well. And so does Teddy Riley. Rodney Jerkins works with K-pop artists. We know Timbaland, he works with the AI artists, but he works with K-pop too. That's probably how he got into the AI thing. So like I think that these people started seeing like a turn in the music industry in America, and they saw an opportunity in um, North and South Korea. Full force. Thank you, Red Six. Yes, full force. They're the ones that are working with K-pop artists too. So it's a lot of our R&B artists from the 80s and the 90s that went over there and they're working with them. I mean, it sucks, but it makes sense because like if you're seeing your money in your industry in America dry up, like you're going to go somewhere else and you're going to try to make money. So I get it. Reparations Nation says, "Yep, I got people that live off Panola and went to Stevenson." Yeah. I was speaking of Shiloh in the 80s and the early 90s. Yeah, yeah, yeah. Yeah, all those Gwinnett County schools, they used to be white, but black people started moving like further and further east. Yeah, that's what happened. Parkview ended up being turning black for a little while. I don't know if it's still black, but I'm sure a lot of those schools over there in Gwinnett County are full of immigrants. There's probably a lot of Indians over there. You graduated 96. Oh, you graduated at the right time. That was like the height of Atlanta, 1996. That was the height. I was like 9 years old, I think. I was like 8 or 9. Um, yeah, I remember those days. Oh, I forgot we were even talking about this dude. Let's let him finish.
And then you have the African Americans are those who consider themselves to be descendants of Africa, descendants of the slave trade, descendants of people who can trace their roots from the motherland. and they are more sympathetic to the Pan African struggle for Black people. The power to the people kind of move.
This clown, he don't know nothing. He don't even know what he's talking about. He don't even know what he's talking about. He's trying to say what he thinks we want to hear him say.
Movements, the group of people who feel like all Black people need to come together and work together, and they are the ones who have been traveling to Africa, making connections with Africa and other parts of the diaspora. But because of the FBA, a lot of African countries are taking a second look. They're like, okay, what are we dealing with here? What are we dealing with here? Because you don't want an FBA in your country. Because if somebody can look down on Africa and Africans, you don't want them in your country. These people could come to the country and be spies for the colonizer.
Let me stop you right there. First of all, y'all have been coming to our country for decades and you're being spies for the colonizer. Why would, first of all, only like 25% of Black Americans even have a passport? 25% of Black Americans have a passport, and you think that we're going to be coming to Africa to be spies? We don't want to come there. Reparations Nation says, I'm a flight attendant, been to Africa a few times. We travel, dude. But the thing is, like, most of us don't. So he's making it seem like we will travel just to go there to be spies or try to harm them in some way. I feel like you have to do too much to go to Africa. Don't you have to get shots and stuff? The average FBA person is not trying to come to Africa to do anything to you all. He sounds crazy. Like, come on now.
Come to your country and cause more damage to your country in terms of safety and security.
That's what they have done. Literally, they have come here and they have caused more damage.
Because they don't consider themselves as Africans. So this is causing African governments to think twice about who these people are. Because if you listen to the FBA, the things that they say is worse than the colonizer. And they could be a security risk.
I can assure you that there's nothing that any of us have said that was worse than what any of the people that colonized Africa and carved it up like a fucking peep. Excuse me. It's Ramadan. The people that came to Africa and carved it up like a pizza said much worse, and they've done much worse. They have come and they have extracted all of your resources. You don't even have control over any of your resources in your country. But the things that we have said to y'all on social media is much worse. These people don't know how to pick their battles. They don't want war with us. They can't handle war with us. The fact that they're even doing this is ridiculous. They really have too much pride. All they have to do is say, okay, we apologize. We have been disrespectful in your spaces for too long. But they believed that they still believe that they have a chance to try to take us over in our own country. And it's not going to happen. Reparations Nation says, ain't nobody doing all that. And yes, you should be up on vaccines before going to certain places, China too. Yeah.
To the safety and security of African countries. So the FBAs are causing more damage.
This is just delusional. Nothing is more unsafe than Lagos, Nigeria. Nothing is more unsafe than Lagos, Nigeria. Hold on, y'all. This right here, this is how people live where you're from. They say 300,000 people live over here. Oh, the post office. Just, I was wondering what that noise was. The post office outside. Like, come on now.
And we have about more than 1,000 students at home, which are willing to go to school. So there's not enough space. As you can see, we didn't have primary six class in the school. Maybe the children pass it to primary six and move them from here to the new school for the primary six. Also, maybe the other class we can collect more children into the schools because education is the best thing in life.
Like most people in Lagos, I've been seeing Makoko, passing over Third Mainland Bridge, and I guess I was curious and interested in knowing how, what was going on in there. So I visited Makoko and was very inspired by the environment and particularly how they've managed to create a lot almost out of nothing. So I decided to learn from the environment and also help improve the environment. And one of the first needs that the community expressed to me was school, and I volunteered to help design and build one. Makoko Floating School is a building prototype for urbanization, housing shortage.
Is this the school that Kai Cenat was supposed to be investing in? I don't know. But at the end of the day, can't nobody who lives in a place that has a community like this say anything to us about anything being dangerous? Because these people are literally walking in standing water all day. That's unsafe. Reparations Nation says they think far too highly of themselves. We have to have the police in Lagos escort us from the airport to the hotel and back when we fly there. Also, they tell us and the pilots to never leave the hotel compound. There you have it. There you have it. Like this wasn't in Legos, but I think we watched some stories from people who were who were at Deti December, and they were talking about how they were getting extorted by the police. Didn't we? I don't know if we watched anything, but let me see if I can find. Uh-oh. Ooh, hold on. We got another video we need to watch. We got another video we need to watch. Okay, we're gonna finish what he said. What he's saying. um, I think the more that people look into us, they're going to see that we are on the right side of history and that we are correct, wanting to. Um, we're trying to highlight the fact that we are different, and that since we have such a different experience in this country, we need to be handled differently. And trying to unite on the basis of skin color hasn't served us. And the only thing that makes sense for uniting in this country is right now, in this current climate, it would be immigrants versus the citizens. Because right now we're in a fight for resources. So what we're seeing now with the delineation movement is that there are so many white Americans that are finding out that the immigrants are pretty much defrauding the country and getting resources that should be given to citizens, and they're more angrier than we are. That's why we just need to move out the way. We just need to move out the way. This is what I found when I was looking for something about Daddy December. But I've never seen this video, but I want to see what she has to say. Oops. I was waiting to see if anybody said that there was any sound. Okay, hold on. This is actually really good though.
I went to Nigeria for the first time this past December, and not to be dramatic, but that trip changed my life and my perspective on so many different things. And now I understand why every time Nigerian independence comes around and us in the States, we're so pumped up throwing parties. Oh my God, Nigerian independence, doing photo shoots, wearing green, white, green. And people back home Nigeria are upset with us, and they're like, why are you celebrating? And you won't understand until you go there and see that there's quite literally nothing to celebrate about Nigeria. Poverty is insane. People can't afford basic health care. If there's an emergency, you don't have 911 to come and help you. Like, there's so many things that needs to be done in Nigeria. If you get sick or if you get injured in Nigeria and you don't have money, it's quite literally a death sentence. Even if you do have the money, it can still be a death sentence for you. We had to rush my sister to the hospital because when she was getting out of the shower in the village, it fell on her and all the glass pierced her skin. And we took her to the hospital, and when we got there, the sight was so disheartening. What I saw made me so emotional because there are so many people there that were just laying around unattended to. The fact of the matter is, if you're there and you don't have money, you will die. You can be bleeding out in that hospital, and if they ask you for your payment card and you don't have it, they will watch you die. Thankfully, my family was privileged enough to have money to, help my sister, and she was stable at this point. But seeing other people laying there not being attended to was so sad. For one, the hospital only had one blood pressure cuff, and it was cloth. They used it on someone, and now I wanted to put on my sister. My sister said, no, I'm okay. I don't want you to put that on me. Two, in that whole emergency unit, there was only one.
Wait. Did y'all hear that? She said the whole hospital had one blood pressure cuff. One blood pressure cuff. Red 6, yeah. Anthony Joshua Crash showed us what was up in Nigeria. Yeah.
Three, My family had to go and buy Band-Aids for the hospital because the hospital did not have
The hospital didn't have Band-Aids, and your family had to buy Band-Aids for the entire hospital?
Band-Aids. They were treating my sister, and the nurse said, "Can you go buy plaster?" A hospital doesn't have the proper equipment to take care of the patients there. As a recent graduate from nursing school, this made me so sad because I believe that everyone deserves proper health care. And I just think it's a basic human right that everyone deserves to be treated, whether you have money or not. Your health is the most important thing. And that just motivated me to, start a GoFundMe to raise money for this hospital, at least to start seeing the change that I want to see, because Nigeria is more than just dancing and jollof rice and Afrobeats. Like, we need to tackle the bigger issue at hand, the poverty, the lack of healthcare. It's so bad. We need to stop associating Nigeria with just vibes on vibes on vibes. Go there for a good time, spend your money, come back every December. Like, there's so much more to Nigeria than just vibes. So the link will be in my bio to donate money to this hospital, get some supplies for the hospital. I would also love for some of the funds to be allocated for people who are not able to pay for their treatment, to at least the hospital can pull money from there and use it to treat these people. And at this point, we can't just keep waiting on the government to fix things. I feel like us who are privileged enough to do what we need to do to help Nigeria out. Just like start a movement for us back in.
You see how far behind these people are? They are so far behind us. They came to America. They're making money. They're getting the colonizers' education. And they're not even thinking about what's going on back home. They're coming home to party, not even realizing that the infrastructure in their home country is terrible. And the reason why it's terrible is because you all left and never went back. You're only going back to party. You're going back for the holidays to party. Y'all aren't reaching back and helping your people. And they think that they're not like those people that they left. They're exactly like them. The people that they left behind, you are the same as them. You just have a more colonized mind and you're more selfish than they are. Reparations Nation says, I shouldn't have laughed, but one blood pressure cup. It sent me to, you heard me yell, what? They only had one and they were using it on everybody to the point where it came back around to her sister. She was like, nah, I don't want that touching me. Come on.
In the States to focus on the healthcare in Nigeria, doing whatever we can to at least see some
my thing is like we just watched a show, a news clip like last week where John Hopkins had the first all Black trauma doctor trauma team. So it was 5 of them who were trauma doctors, and most of them were Nigerians. Why are they at Johns Hopkins? They need to go help their people. They need to go help their people.
Progress. It won't happen overnight, but anything goes a long way. Any amount helps. I just want to be the change that I want to see. Thank you, guys.
Nobody's donating. Y'all got money. Don't they have money? Aren't they doing better than us? Aren't y'all doing better than us in our country? Then why don't y'all have a proper working infrastructure in Nigeria? Y'all don't have hospitals. Y'all don't have paramedics. Y'all don't have a police force, a real police force. I doubt that y'all have a fire department. What's going on with y'all? What's going on with y'all? Let me see if we can find see this is what they got going on in Lagos. They thought that all they had to do was like make some money, make some music. They thought all they had to do was make some music. They thought all they had to do was they thought all they had to do was make some popular music and they will be on.
The same, but the dairy now, people don't really like him. As to whether maybe we take the dairy from there, then find it.
Ooh, let's see what she got to say.
So I just got back from Dirty December. I spent 16 days in Nigeria and it was way too long. But let me tell you what I realized while being there, because I have a lot to say. One, there's no constant Wi-Fi. Wi-Fi is like Hunger Games. Service is terrible. Two, they put spice in every single thing. I get it. It's Nigeria, the motherland. But not everybody eats spicy food. I was struggling. I do not eat spicy food. Me and my stomach was going to war. Okay. Three, somebody's always asking you to bless them for Christmas, bless them for New Year. What about me? I want to be blessed. I ain't got no money. I'm here to have a good time. Money has run me dry. Everyone is literally always asking for money, like always. Bless your.
That's what I don't understand, though. You know these people are poor. They're your people. Why would you go back? Why? You know what? Dr. Grant, they do not care. A guy on X said once he gets his citizenship, Haiti is no longer his problem. He was rightfully called a coward and to stay away from us. They're on their own. One thing about me, I love to travel. I haven't really done much traveling since COVID because it's been weird out there. But the last place that I went to visit outside of the country, I think might have been Dominican Republic. And that trip really showed me that I do not want to go to any places where the people are very poor. I don't want to go to any third world countries at all, because it's like I'm trying to vacation in their backyard and I'm looking around and I see barefoot babies in diapers and the people are poor. I'm like, I feel like I'm back in Pittsburgh. These people are so poor. Why do you assume that they wouldn't ask you for money? You're here, you look like a celebrity. You look like you're rich compared to these people. They're going to ask you for money. You go to Nigeria on a holiday and you don't expect people to beg you for money, and these are your people. That's confusing to me. And then you're acting like you don't want to help. These people really feel like they got theirs and they moved on, and anybody else needs to just try to do the same. Like they don't feel like they have any type of obligation to the people that still live in the places where they have fled. And that is odd to me.
Auntie, bless your uncle. Just come here. Come bless. Not gonna lie, they beg a lot for money and it's actually so annoying. And I'm so happy to be back in America where I am not forced to give. Okay. I don't know what number I'm on, but there's a lot of partying. A whole lot of partying. Like you're coming back home at 7:30, 8 a.m. And last, you're not going to find your husband in Dirty December. I'm telling you now. Everyone is there to have a good time. They're there for a really good time and not a long time. You're not going to find your husband. Go off season. I thought I was going to find my husband, baby. He was not there. Sorry to break it to you. Oh, and you're going to be sick either during your trip or at the end of your trip. And thank God I got sick at the end of my trip. So take anti-malaria before you come.
Yeah. Reparations Nation. I went to Acapulco when I was 12 and realized our homeless aren't like their homeless. When I saw a topless woman with a newborn nursing sitting on a cloth on the concrete selling trinkets, I was in awe. Yeah. Yeah, it's different in third world countries. I don't want to go back. I don't want to go vacation anywhere where people are begging on the street. Well, obviously you can't really go anywhere without people that are begging on the street, but like it's just different when you're in a third world country because it's like the majority of the people they either work on the resorts or they're just dirt poor. And I don't know, that just makes me feel like very uncomfortable. All right, let's see. Is there anything else? Oh yeah. Whoever this girl is, Alea Wright, I don't know who she is, but I saw this on my timeline and I was like, that is very, very dope. She says, I made my first film festival. My short Delta Grown, which documents 2 Black women's journey to combat food deserts in the Mississippi Delta, will show at the inaugural Ain't Film Festival this Friday. Pull up on us in Memphis, Maine. That is awesome. So, Black praise for Miss Alea Wright. I would love to see it. I would love to see it. Oh, I saw this the other day, and we'll watch it, but not right now. Okay. This is something I wanted to share, and it's actually on brand for the free show. Let's take a break though. I'm tired of these Africans. Reparations Nation, the most dangerous of criminals. That is very true in these third world countries. I went to Costa Rica, and yeah, that was like the only place where I kind of felt like I wasn't safe. Being in the city part and then going to Manuel Antonio, like I felt like at any moment I was gonna be like, I don't want to say kidnapped, but I just felt like at any moment something was going to happen to me when I was in Costa Rica. I don't know why. Of course, nothing happened to me, but it was weird. Reparation Nation says, headed to the gym. We'll listen in the background. Great broadcast. Thank you. Let me ask, what is going to happen with immigration in America? What is going to happen with immigration in America? Like, is it going to slow down? Is there going to be any stops made to it at all? I know that that birthright citizenship 14th Amendment hearing is coming up soon. King of Swords. This kind of makes me feel like with immigration, a lot of truths are going to be coming out, especially with the defrauding and the taking advantage of the resources as far as immigration goes. With I'm thinking with like the NGOs and the USAID and all that stuff. I think a lot of that is going to be coming out, but a lot more of this is going to be coming out. I did see that Tyler Oliveira, he had went to New Jersey and found out all this stuff about what the Jays were doing. So I feel like that might be a lot of stuff that is coming out. It's going to be, that's a lot of that type of stuff is going to be coming out soon. And this card makes me feel like a lot of people, a lot of immigrants, especially undocumented ones or people that overstayed their visas, they're going to be going back home. That's what this card makes me feel intuitively. It's the 7 of Pentacles, which means it gives the energy of like reaping what you sow. So like if you came here illegally, you're probably either going to get sent back or you're going to go back home on your own volition. And this card popped out, 10 of Swords. This gives me, so with this, it could either be a 1 or a 10. And for me, when it's a 10, that means like the worst is over. So I feel like we're going to see, like, we've seen the worst of the immigration issue. Like, I don't think that the border is ever going to be open like it was with Biden. They said something like 14 million people like came over the border in the past like 4 years. So I don't think the issue is ever going to get as bad as it was. I think that's over. And the swords is air, which could be truth, it could be words. I think that we're going to be getting a lot more clarity on the situation with immigration. Like I feel like before it was more like a lot of it was kind of secretive, you know, like a lot of stuff that was happening behind the scenes, especially when it happened with the resources that they were getting. And I think a lot of that stuff is going to be coming to with this card, this Two of Swords. I feel like a lot was hidden. Like they tried to blind the public to a lot of what they were doing with immigration, and I think the Democrats were the main ones who were allowing a lot of this to happen. But they were hiding it from the public. We didn't know that a lot of these people were coming over here getting all types of aid. Their kids getting free college. They're getting Section 8. American citizens are struggling, and they have immigrants coming over and, you know, getting more than citizens. Hey, Kid Gravity. Thank you for checking in. I think I was in I think I was in your live earlier, actually. Dr. Grant says many people want a 10-year moratorium on immigration and a repeal of the 65 Immigration Act and Hart-Celler. I think this forced migration was the breaking point. I agree. I think, and even with the SAVE Act, are y'all seeing like a lot of the drama going on with the SAVE Act? I saw a reporter had cornered what's her name? Yvonne Clark. Is that her name? She's like the head of the CBC. And she was asking her questions about the SAVE Act. And then she said, well, did you know that 75% of Black Americans are for the SAVE Act? And then she tried to say that she didn't believe that. That's crazy. Like they're literally, they know that the reason why they want the SAVE Act, they know that hold on, let me back up because I'm confusing myself. They know that they want illegal immigrants to be able to continue to vote in elections, because that's the only way that they're going to be able to win these midterms is if they get illegal immigrants to be able to vote. And them not having to show an ID makes it easier for them to be able to vote. And I think a lot of Americans are finding out that that's how elections have been getting stolen over these years, by allowing people who aren't citizens to vote. And my thing is, if non-citizens can vote, what's the point of being a citizen? Non-citizens can get all types of government aid. They qualify for all these welfare programs. They can vote. They can work with no problem. They can go to school with no problem. Like, what's the point of being a citizen? I feel like being a citizen should come with some type of carte blanche, but it does not in America anymore. Dr. Grant also says, I was aware of the forced migration years before it happened because I eavesdropped on the white supremacists. They circulated a video of a woman named Barbara Specter who talked about Europe needing multiculturalism. Let me see about that. Wait. Oh man, I'm not trying to download this. But I guess this is a letter that Barbara Specter, she sent to some committee in Australia. Oh, this is deep. Oh, this is deep. I can't get into this right now. But pretty much she's saying that multiculturalism will destroy the Anglo-Saxon white Christian culture. And it has divided the nation into an apartheid. And it's forced the Aborigine. I guess she sent this. This was in Australia. She's saying that multicultural. Hold on, let me so y'all can see this. It has divided the nation into apartheid, exploiting the Aborigines to create an independent Black nation, plus allowing hundreds of nationalities to form their own little nations in suburbs because of failure to assimilate. This has broken up the homogeneity of the nation and is a threat to the national defense and security. When was this? This was December 5th, 2017. Federation was about uniting one people, one destiny, one flag for national peace to prevent civil wars and security against invasion. Multiculturalism is contrary to the Australian Constitution, common law, democracy, and the rule of law, which are based on Christianity. Multiculturalism has favored and created privileged minorities who are given preferential and special treatment and funding that majority of Australians do not receive. The cost of multiculturalism is devastating both financially and socially, as civil unrest is occurring in Australia and governments are borrowing to fund infrastructure, English lessons, and interpreters and welfare. Multiculturalism should be abolished and politicians must uphold and obey the Australian Constitution. Their rule book. Marxist politicians need to drop the international global agenda called the New World Order to create a global community of a melting pot of races for the benefit of the global elites to bring this country to its knees. Politicians were elected to represent the people, but now are committing political suicide and genocide against its own people through multiculturalism, circumventing and overthrowing our Constitution. This is a crime. Australia's so-called government of Liberal Labour Greens is in elected three-party Marxist dictatorship under a foreign power, which has forced multiculturalism upon the Australian people against their will without a referendum. The whole world is abandoning multiculturalism and knows it destroys nations, causes poverty, civil wars, and creates crime-ridden third world nations. That's literally what's happening in America right now. This is what she's I guess this is something that she sent to, let me see if it says it on here. I don't know where she submitted this somewhere. I'm not sure. But she wrote this, Strengthening Multiculturalism. Select Committee on Strengthening Multiculturalism. So I guess they had a committee in Australia for strengthening multiculturalism, and she sent this to them saying, like, no, this is something that we do not need. And this is what's happening all over the world, actually. And it seems like this is all a plan to destroy countries, because it's destroying America. Obviously, it's destroying Australia for her to write this. It's destroying Europe because all of these countries are importing the third world just to get their numbers up. Multiculturalism, a Marxist communist policy. Multiculturalism means many cults or many gods or many religions. MC was taught at communist training schools at Minto NSW as a Marxist theory or tool to destroy the Anglo-Saxon nation's homogeneity, to divide and fragment the national defense and security in conjunction with the Aboriginal land rights movement, refugees and asylum seekers, to create an independent, separate Black nation, which will create civil wars and bring in uninvited people for invasion. Well, I mean, we're seeing that in America. All these groups of people, it's clearly an invasion. I mean, we should have seen it 30, 40 years ago. We have We have all these immigrants coming here and they don't speak the language. They're learning English in our school. They're learning English in our schools, but they're not forced to learn English. They don't have to know English to get a job. And then there's places where they can discriminate against you for not knowing Spanish. And it's all because America does not have its own national language. America was probably the first country that made it easy for this multicultural invasion. But yeah, that is very interesting, Barbara Lerner Spector.
It's really a pleasure to be with you. And I want to say a special hello to someone I know, actually. I see Paul Lipst. So I want to say hello, Paul. And others, I already feel the friendly faces. I must say this is not a talk that I expected to give. In fact, it's, an earthquake has taken place in the Jewish world, and it's difficult to speak about what I did want to speak about, but I think in order for you to begin to approximate the type of earthquake that took place in Europe, I think I have to introduce you to a new Jewish voice in Europe, and then perhaps we can understand the width and depth and breadth of what has taken place. I hadn't meant it to be this way, but as I looked at what I wanted to say to you tonight.
Damn, I didn't know this was going to be this long. We're not going to watch this. But maybe we can look into it at a different time. Yeah, maybe we can look at it at a different time. Let's see. Reparations Nation says, imagine immigrating to Mexico, not learning Spanish and demanding to get benefits, a job, et cetera, and send money back to your family in America. I mean, it makes sense that this is like a new world plan. Because if you destroy all of the countries, you have to destroy all the countries first before you can rule over them. Like if we have a perfectly functioning country, there's no way that we are going to give that up for whatever plan that they have. Dr. Grant says, I used to read their post on Stormfront. When you hear news of lynchings or shootings ruled self-defense or suicide, that is not coincidental. They spend time brainstorming how to harm us. Yeah, I believe that they have like Discord groups and Telegram groups. Yeah, I believe they have Discord groups and Telegram groups where they talk about how they're going to do these things. And I think that's how a lot of the school shootings happen as well. Because they're all brainstorming ideas together in a group to figure out how to do these things. That's how it happened with the top shooting in Buffalo. It's the same thing. But it doesn't make any sense because, like, why are you trying to fight Black Americans when we are not the enemy? The beast powers are rising. Well, they're trying to rise. Are we going to allow them to? Are we going to allow them to? Let's see. Let's ask the cards. If the beast powers are rising, are we going to allow them to rise? Are we going to lay down and allow them to enslave us in a different way? Is the New World Government? That didn't really pop out. Is the New World Government actually going to be is it going to be a success? Is it going to happen? Is the New World Government going to happen? Hmm. These cards make me think like the idea is going forward. With this, it makes me feel like the system is crashing down, and it is happening. It is happening purposely, but they do want something new to arise. They do want something new to arise. I think they feel like this thing is going to be beneficial to the world. This King of Cups, I think they do think that this is going to be helpful to the world in some way. They are trying to lead the world into a new direction. I think the people, those beast powers that Reparations Nation is talking about, I think that they believe that they will be successful. They are working on something together for sure. Yeah, they're moving forward with their plans. We're not going to know exactly what these plans are. Maybe to entrap us with illusions. Maybe that's what social media is doing right now, entrapping us with illusions. For the meantime, before they can actually get everything on the ground. Yeah. They are hard at work at it. Maybe that's why a lot of things are being exposed right now, like with the whole like the Epstein files and everything else. Because if they're going to destroy the old system, I mean the parts of the old system, so those parts of the old system have to be exposed, and people have to know the truth. Because when a new system comes in, it has to begin with truth. They're still trying to deceive us, though, and I think it's because we're holding our peace. Like, I think the general public is like, we're not making any moves. So they're trying to, I think that they're still trying to deceive us, of course. But I don't think they're able to deceive us because we're holding our peace. We're holding our peace. We're remaining balanced. Yeah, we're remaining balanced. So we're waiting for, I wouldn't say we're waiting, but I think that we're anticipating like something good coming in, you know, something joyful. I think that we're anticipating something joyful coming in. I think that worries them too. It makes them feel like they have to back off, but they're not going to back off. They're going to keep going. I think that they had since the plan is in play, you know what I mean? Like, since they started the plan, since they started this plan, I feel like they think that they can't end it, but it's not going as planned. It's not going as planned. What they're doing, it's actually failing quite miserably. That's the Ace of Swords truth. That's the Ace of Swords truth. Yeah, they're worried that they're going to have to give us something. They're worried that they're actually going to have to give us something in order for us to get on the same. They want us to get on the same program, but we're not doing that. We're not doing that. And I think it's making them nervous, actually. Yeah, they feel like they're going to have to atone in some way. But if they do, they're not going to be able to, it's not going to be real. It's not going to be genuine. But they're feeling like that's going to be the next plan. And it's not going to be genuine because I feel like we know that it's not going to be genuine and we're not going to accept it. But I think it's because we have gained something that's far more greater than just a stinky apology from them. I don't know where this reading is going. I'm not even doing an actual spread. I'm just pulling some messages intuitively from my spirit team. So I don't know where this is going to go. Have you seen Jason Black's video on the 5 steps to Nazi Germany in the US? No, I haven't. I actually have not even really been watching his videos recently. But the Black Authority. Oh, this is an old video. Dang. We ain't gonna be able to watch this whole thing, but I'm gonna watch it on my own. Yeah, I'm gonna watch that. So in order for the New World Order to even work, I feel like Black Americans are gonna have to participate in it. You know what I mean? But in a way, it's not gonna work without us. Yeah, I think something happened spiritually where we ended up coming up as a victor. I mean, they're still behind. They're still here. Like we killed one beast, but there's another beast that we're gonna have to defeat. And I think that we're so grounded in who we are and what we want. They know that they're gonna have to come to us with something. That's why I really believe reparations is gonna happen. I don't think it's gonna happen in the way that we want it to. Well, initially, I think we're gonna fight for what we actually deserve. I think they're gonna present us with something that's not gonna be what we want initially. But yeah, for this plan to go forward, we're going to have to be on deck. And I think that they're realizing that. We're being watched heavily right now. I wouldn't even say watched. I would say monitored. We're being monitored heavily right now. There's something about us, the Black Americans, the one big Negro. There's something about us that if we don't get on board with this New World Order or whatever that they got going on, it's not going to happen. Yeah. They're trying to figure out how they can ensnare us in their web. I think we got loose. I think this delineation thing is much bigger than what they want us to believe. I think that's why we're getting so much pushback. We have like an armor of protection around us right now that can't be penetrated. Yeah, we defeated a beast. I'm gonna have to meditate on this because the messages are coming in really, really clear. We defeated a beast. We defeated a big beast, and it was just from delineation. It was just from us saying that. And I think it's more about we asserted who we are, and we're standing on the place where our feet are. We are standing on this land. We're not allowing anyone to tell us who we are and where we come from. And I think that was how we defeated that big beast. But there's another beast that we're going to be having to defeat. I think it has caused the powers that were to be like in complete agony. Like they don't know what to do. They have nothing to combat what we're doing. And I think it's more about us identifying ourselves and not being able to be pushed anyway. You know what I mean? We learn how to love ourselves. We're learning how to love ourselves. If that makes sense. Like, share, subscribe. If you're not on YouTube, like, share, subscribe, like the video. If you want to put a little bit of money in the digital tip jar, this is Cash App. Major Rahman. $, MAJORAHMAN. But yeah, I think delineation actually showed. It was an act of self-love. And we got our power back. We got our power back. Ace of Wands. We took our power back. And I don't think we know how important that is. Like, this is heavy. We did something. And I think the thing is, like, I think we did something not knowing that we did something. You know what I mean? Like, we did something, but we don't know that we did it. And since we don't know that we did it, we're just going along with life. You know what I mean? Like, hold on. They telling me to... Oops. Sorry, y'all. I was channeling and I kind of like hallucinated for a second. I hallucinated like AI for a second. Okay. Let me know y'all still here because I don't want to be talking to myself. Dr. Grant says we need to focus on the things that are paramount to building and running a nation. AI and advanced robotics is very important and will level the playing field between nations and corporations. I do agree. I think that what we did put us in a position for us to be able to build our own nation. That's what I think. I think what we did, it put us in a position where we didn't just separate ourselves from melanated immigrants. Like at the end of the day, like that's not, we talk about that because they are an issue as far as our delineation, but this is more about us taking back the power that we gave away for 500 plus years and staking our claim in this country that we built. It's more about that. And you know, there was so much wealth that was extracted from us for centuries. And right now we are in a position to take that wealth back. Now, it might not be from reparations. This is another thing that this is a download that I've been getting for like the past year. I do believe that we will get reparations, but I believe that it's going to be because we are going to start forming our own systems and industries in this country where we are making money independently from any of these other corporations. And that's what's going to get us reparations, because once we start working independently and we are more self-sufficient, we're not relying on these other groups that have been extracting wealth from us. They are going to be forced to try to get us back into the fold somehow. It's something about us. It's something about us being down with the program. And I think it's because we are one big Negro. We're moving as one. You know what I mean? And because we are moving as one, we are very, very strong energetically. And they need that energy in order to make their plans. They need our energy in order to materialize their plans. That's what I just heard, materialize. Temperance. They're trying to figure out how they can get us to walk away from like this new, we're on like a new wavelength. We're not even on the same like frequency as these other people. They're trying to figure out how they can get us to walk away. Like the fact that we're not stressing about what's going on in the world, like we're not fearful of the future. It's like we know that something new is happening and that we have entered a new timeline. That's what it is. It's a new timeline. And we're not fearful of it. We're kind of like going with the flow about it. It's like we can see that there's other people in this country, other groups of people that are afraid of what's going on. We're not afraid. It's kind of like we are observing it and we're still moving accordingly. They're trying to figure out how to get us out of this energy. You know what I'm saying? We're observing. We're observing. They're watching us. They're trying to see what we're about to do. And what we have to do, like what Dr. Grant said, we need to focus. Dr. Grant says, for now, I am focused on finance and business. Would love to go back and major in engineering and information tech, but there's only so much one person can do. Yes, there's only so much one person can do, but that one person needs to do that thing. King of Swords. Hold on. King of Swords. I just want to say exactly what the King of... I'm actually going to Google it too. So in this deck, this is King Asa from Kenya. He's the protector god of mankind. Rationality and logic, love of the law, care for the weaker, intellectual realization of the self, cautious, objective person. This is the energy that Black Americans are in. King of Swords. Protector god of mankind. Rationality and logic, love of the law, care for the weaker, intellectual realization of the self, cautious, objective person. I think as a group, this is how we're being looked at in the spirit, mainly because of we are a moral people. We actually care about people. We care for justice. We care about justice. We want to do what's right. And I think that's why we are being chosen in order to move the world into this new timeline. And it makes sense because, like, I keep saying we have to be serious about what we're going to do. Like, we can feel that we have gotten like this new power, newfound power. We have taken our power back. We are actually utilizing the power that was taken from us. But we have to do something with it. This is how we are being seen. And I keep looking at this. The world card is on top of it. That means it's a new cycle. Ace of Swords, truth. Thank you, Spirit. If we don't step into our rightful places and take charge like we need to, we are going to lead the world into poverty. We are going to allow the world to be led into poverty, a new cycle of poverty. That's what I believe. And I think it's because the devils, they already have a plan. They already have a plan. The plan is to trick us. They're trying to trick us into being like, and trick us into helping them enslave the entire world. But I don't think that's going to happen because we have like this newfound foundation. Like we are solid. We are solid. It's like we crossed over a finish line. The finish line was it was a threshold into a new portal where we will be receiving gifts from the universe to help us in this new timeline, this new world. I think like a couple of days ago, I think Jupiter went 0% at Aries, which marked like the beginning of a new 6,400-year cycle. Like the last 6,400-year cycle is over, and now we're in a new 6,400-year cycle. Yeah, we're giving the green light to move forward. We're giving the green light to move forward. But if you look at this card, you see it's a gazelle, but you see it's 3 hyenas like circling it because they think it's food. So that's why it's important that we actually plan in every single person has to do what they need to do in order to be a leader. Like if you have to go back to school, you got to go back to school. You got to start a business. Even if it's just in your own community, if it's picking up trash, like, I don't know, you have to do something because the hyenas are watching. They're looking at us as food. They think that we're not going to be able to do what we are being called to do. They want us to miss this opportunity. But we are the star. Oops, hold on. We are the star. We are the star. We've been given. The Ace of Pentacles is just like, it's something material. This is a gift from God. This is like God gave us the Pentacle. It's like he gave us some money to go to the store. We could pick out whatever we want. That's pretty much what that is. It's like, okay, I want you to do this. I'm gonna give you some money for you to be able to do it. But he wants us to change something drastically. And I think that's what we've already done. We did it unintentionally. We already made the first step. Yeah. Oh yeah. Before we get up out of here, I'm going to take something from the Sacred Symbols. Now, I just got this, so I'm not super versed in it, but I do like this deck. So I might have to get into the book to actually understand some of the meanings on the cards better, but I just got this. I don't really need it. Hey, 444. I am excellent. Yeah. My guys want me to meditate. They keep telling me they want me to meditate, but you all need to be meditating too, because you have your own guides and they're going to tell you what you need to know. They're going to help you along this journey, because this is serious. We were chosen because we are the ones that have the courage to be able to carry out the plan that our ancestors have. And I don't think it's just us. I think everybody all over the world is being called at this time. I think everybody. I'm sorry. I hear Mimi crying. But they want things to be easy for us. I think that's why they want us to meditate. Because as long as we know what we need to do, I think it will be easy. But I think the most important thing that we need to do is to I think the most important thing that we need to do is we need to do the things that we want to do, not the things that we have to do. I think we need to do we need to start doing the things that we want to do. And it's because, like I said, I think people all over the world are being called to become leaders in this moment. But I think we're the only ones that actually have the courage to do it. And I think we showed that through the delineation movement. And that's why as soon as I opened up this deck, this book, this came up. Jealousy and grounded. They're jealous because we are so grounded. They have been doing so many things to try to knock us off of balance. And it's not working. We are solid. This says transmute. To transmute is to convert one energy into another. The snake is a powerful symbol of transmutation. You are being invited to accept its gift of shedding to help you process something important. Use this ability to make magic by transmuting the snake's energy into something new and beneficial for your growth. Meditate on this symbol, and when you need some assistance in changing the energy in your life. The snake represents our ability to connect to our own inner alchemist, to let go of the old by being able to shed its skin, thereby allowing for constant evolution. This goes to what I've been saying. We are moving into a new timeline. The old world is over. There are people that are still living in the old world doing old things. We have to do new things. We have to create new systems in this new world. I think we are being called to do that right now. It's on us. I think it's on us. This is our time. Like, we can say, oh yeah, our people, we created all of these inventions. We built this nation. We did all of these things. That is, my phone just beeped. We can say all of those things, but what we need to do And this moment is to prove that we are still our ancestors. We are still those people that built this nation. We are still the people that created 50,000 inventions in slavery. We are this. What is today? The last day of Black History Month is tomorrow, but today, February 27th, we have to know that it is important for us to draw upon the strength of our ancestors in order to move the world into a new progressive way of doing things and thinking. Like this is important. The talisman represents new doors opening for you now. New pathways are present at this time. It also invites you to find or create in charge it also invites you to find or create and charge an appropriate symbol, amulet, or mantra to help support your current endeavors or healing. Empower this talisman with your intention to evoke its magic in your everyday life. Meditate with this card to act as a powerful road opener to a new adventure or opportunities, or to discover hidden talismans of power, love, and peace. The skeleton key is often used in magic symbolically to move from one place in life to another. It also is one of the many symbols of the goddess Hecate. When worn as a talisman or charged with intention, the key can free us from our self-imposed cages and move us into the next part of our journey by opening new doors to opportunity. I'm telling y'all, that new world is over. I mean, the old world is done. We are in a new world. Like whatever those old rules are, they don't exist anymore. But I feel like the old world probably ended like almost 15 years ago. The old world been over. But these devils were doing all these things to try to like trick us into believing that there was still this card keeps coming up, meditate. They want us to meditate, y'all. They really want us to meditate and continue to put in those boundaries. We already do that. This is the last card. Trust. I get this card so much. We need to trust that we are on the right track. We definitely need to trust that we are on the right track. Trust that we are protected. We need to trust that we know what we're supposed to be doing. We need to be able to trust our intuition. I'm going to read this card. I love this deck. This is probably one of my favorite decks that I've gotten. Step into the unknown. All may not be revealed at this time. Trust in unseen forces. Meditate on this to let go of all attachments or possibilities. Free yourself from your dharma and increase your trust in your guides in the universe. We are those people, y'all. We are those people. And it is our time. We really have to step into our rightful places as leaders. And I think we will. It's not going to happen overnight. And one thing about it, we have to take our time doing this. It don't matter how long it takes, but we do need to take our time. We have to take intentional efforts. We have to make intentional efforts. We need to slowly plant seeds. We need to do things the correct way. We need to show people how to do things the correct way. No backbiting, no scamming people. We need to treat people the right way, and we need to do things the right way, because I think that's what's going to end up setting us apart. I think that's why we were chosen, because as a people, for the most part, we do things the right way. And I think in this new world, you're not going to be able to get by doing things the wrong way. And I think that's very important. You're not going to be able to scam people and get away with it. You're not going to be able to lie to people and get away with it. You're not going to be able to take advantage of people and get away with it. That's not happening no more. All of that is dead. All right. We got 110 people in here. Thank you all so much. This was a great show, free show. We will be back on Monday with the actual planned show. If there's anything else anybody has to say in the chat, if not, we can get up out of here, and I will hope y'all have a great weekend. Like, share, subscribe. Dr. Grant says, thank you for another great live. Happy Friday and have a fantastic weekend. Thank you. You do the same. Y'all be safe this weekend. And if I don't see you on the tweets, I'll see y'all on Monday. Assalamu alaikum.